What we're going to be looking at here is tooltips. Now, tooltips are pretty interesting because when I first saw them, I was like, oh, flashy buttons. But once I looked at the code a bit more, I'm like, oh, you could pretty much use this with anything. And there are ways for when your user is navigating through a page and they hover over something with their mouse and they're like, what does this do? This is kind of interesting. It's kind of like sometimes when you hover over a picture, like the alt text for it appears. And so I have the imports up here. Feel free to pause or just watch, or if you're bored, just go ahead and sub. You're already here. But let's go ahead and get going on this because this is pretty easy stuff to do. So we're going to make a tooltip. And we're going to give a title, and I'm going to repeat what they do from the documentation here. Once again, not trying to hide anything. And let's just do an icon button. Once again, for accessibility, we want this. Just keep in mind that, you may look at the numbers of an application you have, someone uses, someone's created. You may think, oh, that's only 10%. Oh, that's only 3%. Or that's 1.9%. Have this disability or use this technology to use the application. But in some cases, that could be 10,000 people. That could be 25,000 people. And if you're doing something transactionally or something that, ultimately provides you money or some kind of monetary value at the end of the day, it's better to, reach down and help out everyone you can, because really it doesn't take a lot of work. So we have delete icon right here. We're going to save it. We see that we have this delete icon. As we go over it, we have delete pop-up, which is pretty sweet. That's pretty interesting. But what if we didn't want to just do that? In this tutorial, we've already looked at the floating, was it action buttons, right? At first I was like, fab, that's really oddly named, but obviously it's named for floating action button. We're going to make a second one for this here. And we're going to have a title. Click to sub to my channel. Have a nice call to action there. Come back in. Single quote those. And then we'll just copy and paste this up here. Because though I could type it, I'm probably going to do what most developers do, and that's be a little lazy. I'll just say subscribe. So now we're going to come on down. We're going to have our floating action button here. Color is primary. Oh, didn't mean to do that there. And then let's just use the add icon. So we're going to see this right here. We're going to hover over it. It says click to sub to my channel. It really probably should just say sub to my channel, because click to sub to just sounds really weird rolling off the tongue. But these are ways that you could use the tooltips, basically extra indicators to direct a end user on how you want to, or what something actually does on the page. Remember, you never want anyone guessing what something does. And odds are, even if you have a hard time describing what something should do to a user, you might want to try reinventing the layout or the functionality or what it is you're trying to do on each page. So in this one, we just have sub to my channel. Doesn't really work, obviously. There's no real code here. And we have a delete. But if you wanted to, you could have a photo, a card, maybe even some kind of list, whatever you want to, or you want to provide extra information to the user about something they could do or what something actually is. Feel free to use a tooltip. They're pretty non-intrusive, and yeah,